Hello, and welcome to Next Up with Naming St. Louis. I'm your host, Will Houston. I'm the Marketing and Technology Chair of Naming St. Louis. And on this podcast, we're here to explore the stories, experiences, and insights of dynamic professionals making strides in their careers. We'll be speaking with those who are on a journey of growth and advancement. Our goal is to inspire, inform, and connect you with incredible talent shaping the future of the communications industry. Thank you for joining us today. Let's introduce our next guest. Dr. Tara N. Strickland is an adult education expert and certified professional development coach with over a decade of experience designing human-centered learning experiences that help adults grow with clarity, confidence, and purpose. As founder of Strick Consulting Group, SCG, she blends strategy, reflection, and action to deliver impact, talent development, learning design, and growth-focused training. Known for her engaging, relatable style and practical insight, Dr. Tara supports individuals in strengthening self-trust, communicating with intention, and making confident decisions, especially during moments of growth, transition, and change. Hey, welcome to Next Up with Naming St. Louis. This is Will Houston, your host. Today we are going to be interviewing Dr. Tara Strickland. How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing good, doing good. I'm so glad to have you here. Do you want to start off maybe just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So, as you said, my name is Dr. Tara Strickland. Most people just call me Dr. Tara or Tara.
Mhm.
Um, I am a soft skills enthusiast. That's what I kind of call myself.
Okay.
I actually founded a LLC called Strick Consulting Group. So I'm the founder, I'm the principal training and development consultant. I conduct like different trainings for soft skills and personal and professional development. I'm also a professor, and then I'm also an instructional designer. So I have all the jobs.
Oh, wow.
So I keep myself pretty busy.
Yeah. No, that's great. That's great. We've just got a Women's History Month. And there are so many different things that women have contributed just to the world and to the United States and, just to, the things that we do on a day-to-day basis. And then hearing your resume, it's like, oh, you're one of them. Right? Yeah, you're definitely one of them, and so it's like, it's really good to kind of have you on and get to talk to you. So let's get started, right? Let's start on that part where you're talking about your academia, right? Your roots in education, what your education is, and then how you sort of got into education as well.
Sure. My story of being in education is, first of all, just kind of start with like my degrees. I have a doctorate in instructional leadership, andragogy, which is essentially corporate training or adult training. I have two master's degrees. One is an MFA in writing, and another one is a master's in communications training and development. And then I have my bachelor's in mass communications. So I've been in communications, I've been in training, I've been doing all of the things. Basically, how I got into education was through me going through the doctoral program. So that program was about 6 years. And in that 6 years, it was a long process.
Mhm.
And I didn't really like a whole lot of my classes. Like, I
Oh,
just
wow.
wanted it to be more fun and more engaging. And just, I'm like, there has to be something. There has to be something that can make it more lively.
Mhm.
And I think that that was at the time that I realized that I wanted to tap into higher education.
Yeah.
So that's always been something that I've aspired to. I ended up, my first adjunct teaching role was at Harris Stowe State University.
Mhm.
I did that for about 2 years. And then I also currently work at Dakota State University as well.
Wow. Wow, that's awesome. And so right, you have a very impressive resume when it comes to your academic achievements, and you were able to, then expand on that, and then kind of go back and kind of give some back. What was your experience with that transition from education? Before we get into some of your professional career, what was your experience with uh, going from being educated to being an educator, especially at that level?
So I think that the biggest transition was just knowing all the ins and outs of higher education.
Mm,
So just like you would be like, let's say you were in tech
Hmm.
and they use certain lingo for
Mm.
tech, or they use certain, like if you're a doctor and you use certain medical lingo and things like that. There were things that were going on that I had no clue. I would be in a meeting in the university, and I wouldn't know what was going on or what they were talking about because I didn't know some of the verbiage or the phrases that they use, things like that. Also, on an upside was that I really didn't have that close of a direct contact with people. That I've never had a role where I was able to impact people
Mm.
like in a positive way.
Yeah.
It actually it does something different to you when you can actually help somebody out and teach them things that you know or that you've grown and learned through life, and they have a light bulb moment. So
Yeah.
that was something that was a big change for me coming from the professional world going into higher education.
Wow. Nice. That's awesome. And to your point, right? I think a lot of times, especially when you're dealing with people who are in corporate, sometimes you don't always see the real world benefits or things that you might be doing for people, right? It sometimes isn't set up to show you that. But I imagine a place like, I mean, so you said you were a professor at, you are a professor at Dakota State and you were a professor at Harris Stowe, which is a HBCU, right? I imagine, having just kind of that instant gratification of, you know what, I think I might have changed somebody's life today. How does that feel for you?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. So one of the biggest things that I pride myself in is like, it wasn't just the teaching was fun. You know, I
Hmm.
was able to be creative and do introduce a whole bunch of things that maybe I wasn't introduced to when I was a student.
Hmm.
But the thing that really helped that I loved the most was being able to mentor students. And I kind of fell into that.
Yeah.
I didn't think that I was going to be, I just thought I was going to be teaching courses,
Yeah.
but I ended up mentoring students with different issues. And I realized that all of the things that I've been through in my life helped me to be able to be a really great mentor to them, because there were certain things that I don't think that a regular person, like someone that hasn't been through life struggles, would have been able to deal with as a mentor working at Harris-Stowe State University.
Yeah.
So I was able to mentor several students. I had one student who published a book. I had
Wow.
two students that I assisted with getting approved for scholarships. They won scholarships there,
Yeah.
and then a couple of students I helped with like mental health struggles and things
Wow.
like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, right, these are things that are life-changing events for, like that. It's not 100% your day job, right? But it's something that you were able to do kind of as a value on to really teach those courses, but then also add that as, I'm also here for you. And I think that, so I have a daughter who's goes to an HBCU, and one thing I know is that, it's kind of it's one of those secondary things where it's like, I don't just come here to teach, right? Or if I did initially just come here to teach, I've and I won't just say just for HBCUs, but in general, right? I came here as a professor, but I've also gained this secondary role of, really nurturing the future in in in
Right,
in in more
exactly.
ways, right? Yeah. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about your professional career, right? We'll segue a little bit into that. So you've done many things, right? You have uh, quite an academic background, but you also have quite a professional background. I want to start sort of at the beginning of that. You were the host of an event called Speak On It. Can you tell me a little bit about what Speak On It is?
So, Speak On It was what I called a social group, or
Hmm.
I used to host forums. I did it for 10 years.
Hmm.
And it sparked from a phone conversation with a friend,
Hmm.
a female friend, and we were just talking about like different issues that we weren't, or conversations that we weren't able to have with the opposite sex.
Hmm.
And I said, wow, this is a really good conversation.
Yeah.
It would be nice if we could just put together something formal
Hmm.
and bring together men and women and talk about these taboo topics.
Hmm.
And get them to see the different perspectives, to get them to grow and all
Mhm.
of these different things. And it's how it was born.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just planned it, or and my friend and I planned it, and then it just kind of grew from there.
Absolutely. Wow. Wow. That's awesome. And I think I'll just tell you, I'm a Midwest person. I'm still sort of in the Midwest. I live in Louisville, Kentucky now, but I'm originally from Cincinnati. And I know your background is also in the Midwest. And I think that particular business model starting in a place like the Midwest is perfect, right? We kind of are right in the middle of Southern hospitality sensibilities and Northern, a little bit more is on the table sensibilities. And right, so we're right in the middle of that. And so a lot of things don't get discussed. So I think you started that right in a good place. Can you tell me maybe a little bit about your kind of Midwest upbringing? I know you're from the Fairview Heights, Centerville, Illinois area. Can you tell me a little bit about your how your Midwest upbringing might have had some effect on that?
So I wouldn't really say it's Midwest. I
Okay.
mean, I know that we have our things and
Yeah.
all of that, but um, when it comes to like if we're relating to like speak on it or having
Hmm.
these type of taboo conversations,
Hmm.
it wasn't really about the Midwest. It was more so about navigating two completely different cultural worlds. So
Mm.
if you're from this area, then you
Yeah.
know that Centerville, Illinois is predominantly Black,
Yeah.
and Fairview Heights, Illinois is predominantly white.
Mm.
So just think of that culture shock that I
Yeah.
had transitioning from 8 years in a predominantly Black school to all of a sudden being around a diversity of races.
Hmm. Yeah.
So that was really big. It happened for middle school and high school. And it was just a culture shock. I had to be able to engage with people with different backgrounds and
Yeah.
different experiences. I had to learn how to code switch. I had to
Yeah.
learn how to read the room and
Yeah.
adapt. It was hard.
Yeah.
I struggled with like identity and feeling like wondering if I belonged
Hmm.
anywhere.
Hmm.
And it kind of shaped me into the person that I am today. I feel like I'm very versatile.
Hmm.
It made me aware of how to communicate across like different cultures and different people. And it made me passionate about creating spaces where people can speak honestly and
Hmm.
still feel understood.
I love that. I love that. So yeah, that actually is a a much different take on it. Can we delve into a little bit more? So, the experience that you had, just having to learn how to adapt and learn how to, right, like you said, kind of read the room and understanding space. How do you think that right. How do you think that you said that kind of started in the middle school, high school area? How do you think that affects you going into your academic career and then also going into your professional career as well? Can you talk a little bit about that and working, like from corporate to education to um, entrepreneur to your entrepreneurial ventures as well?
Yeah, so my parents, well, my dad worked at District 189, which was in East St. Louis, Illinois.
Mm,
And from preschool all the way to sixth grade, I went to school in East St. Louis, Illinois, predominantly Black school. And when they moved to Fairview Heights, around the time I was like a preteen, and I ended up transferring to a middle school, I was really upset. I'm like, well,
yeah.
I want to go to school with all my friends. I've been with them for 8 years. I
Yeah.
want to go to school with my friends in East St. Louis. And they were just dead set on me learning about diversity and
Mm,
learning about different cultures and things like that. So they said, this is going to teach you some things. Of course, as a preteen, I didn't think I thought it was torture.
yeah.
But as I, as I, as I was able to meet people of different races and cultures, it really taught me how we are different and how we are the same.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I believe that if I didn't have that experience, I probably wouldn't be able to navigate in the professional world the way that I can,
Absolutely.
because I wouldn't have known how to interact with someone from another race or
Yeah.
a different culture.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I think that's great. I think that's great. And so you were able to kind of take some of that knowledge and take some of those life experiences, and of course, you've been able to, put together an extremely, successful life. Can you tell me a little bit about just kind of
we talked a little bit about Speak on It, and now you have a different entrepreneurial venture. Can you tell me kind of what you're involved in now, and then also tell me how you know, the education, of course, of life, and then of schooling, and the things that you've done in the past have kind of set you up perfectly to do what you're doing now in your entrepreneurial venture?
Yeah. So currently, I am, well, not just currently, but this is the plan for a while now.
Yeah.
But I have a consulting firm called Strick Consulting Group with my husband. We've had it for about 2.5 years. We actually handle two opposite sides of it. He actually is an engineer and does process improvement and
Mhm.
transformation and things like that. I do personal and professional development. I also do like training and things like that. And I also am a life coach. So we're on two completely different sides of the spectrum.
Mhm. How did you get into this particular entrepreneurial venture, right? So usually with entrepreneurism, it's you're kind of disrupting something, right? You find an issue and then you're um jumping in to try to fix that. So how did some of your past experiences lead you to what it is that you kind of do now?
So I felt like I had all these big ideas. I'd done Speak on It for several years. I'd done just a lot of different things. And I just wanted to, but what I found was that no matter how many years or how many degrees I had, I was still like in the same place.
Mm,
So I said, I need to really like elevate and do some big things. So I tried to hire someone to write my resume and do a personal branding for me. And they were super expensive. And I'm
oh,
like, wow, they're so expensive. Let me just figure out like how I can do this on my own.
mhm,
So I did a bunch of research and I found out how to do it on my own. And as I was doing the research, and I was having this lived experience in the professional world, I started to encounter things as I was trying to grow as a person.
mm,
I learned about different soft skills that I needed to develop to be able to progress in my role and get promoted and make more money and do all these different things. And I became almost like obsessed with it.
mhm,
And that became Strict Consulting Group. So I said, well, if I can do this for myself, then I can do it for someone else. And if I can do it for someone else, then I can actually have a business in
yeah.
doing this. Um, and it didn't really come full circle until I finished my doctoral program. I wrote my dissertation and I created this self-help model
Mhm.
that had never been created before and tested it out, and it actually won against other self-help models that were making millions in the market. And I'm like, man, I might be on to something here.
Yeah, yeah.
And and my husband, he is in the doctoral program.
Mhm,
I helped him create his own model.
mm,
So he has his own model for transformation. And I'm like, well, if you have your own model and I have my own model and we have all these different things that we can do, why are we working for someone else?
yeah. Yeah, very true.
So
I
So
like that.
that's what happened.
Yeah.
And I also like the fact that we were polar opposites.
Oh
Like
wow. Yeah.
he's like the analytical, I'm the creative.
Yeah.
And I felt like if we came together, then it would be magical. Like it
Yes.
would be something that we could capture. We could actually fill in these gaps that are in the professional world.
Mm,
He could tackle the transformation, the process improvement side, and
mhm.
I could tackle the things with people that aren't able to develop in their careers.
Yeah. Wow. And that's wonderful too, as far as the complementary piece of marriage and business, right? I think that that's great. So can you tell me a little bit about that power couple dynamic, right? How you both bring your own, your own flavor to the business and how that's really propelled you to be successful and just kind of expand on that a little bit more.
Yeah. So my husband's name is Jerry Strickland,
Hmm.
and I really feel like we're like yin and yang.
Yeah.
So when it comes to Strict Consulting Group, he built systems, I built people. He
Yeah.
optimizes processes, and I optimize thinking. He focuses on execution, and I focus on mindset. So basically, these two worlds intersect, and we like balance each other out. So
Wow.
there's like an origin story that reflects that dynamic.
Hmm.
And it started with, I as we met, I'm like, man, you're like right brained or left brained, and I'm right brained, and we're
Hmm.
like complete opposites. He's analytical,
Hmm.
he's looking at data, crunching numbers, figuring out how to simplify and improve processes. And I'm on the other side, I'm doing imagination,
Yeah.
I'm human development, I'm like trying to close personal and professional gaps.
Uh-huh.
And um, so when we met, which was in 2018,
Hmm.
it just so happened that I had read this article on LinkedIn, and the article was called Magic Happens When the Left and Right Brain Work Together.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's funny that I met him 1 month after I read this article,
Hmm.
and I kind of feel like it was like a fortune cookie moment
Yeah.
because that idea eventually is what created the foundation of Strick Consulting Group.
Wow, that's awesome. Did you just make that up just now with the he creates the process, you create you, or he builds the process, you build the people? Did you just make that up, or is that part of your marketing? Because that was good.
No, I made it up. No,
Oh,
I
that was
actually
good.
did. Thank you.
I like that. That's really good. Wow. Well, if it's not part of your marketing, yeah, you might want to try that one out. I like it. That's real catchy.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, because I didn't even think about that.
Okay. So, we've been able to talk about sort of your academic background, your individual entrepreneurial background, then your entrepreneurial background, with your husband as a sort of as a power couple, and how you're creating this business and helping to build people in the process, which does seem to be something that's, really near and dear to you, as far as, not just making money, but making a difference, right? And so, can you tell me maybe how that became a part of uh your I guess your journey, right? How helping people and doing things in the entrepreneurial space that help people. Now, of course, I do know that you saw a gap in trying to get the services that you needed, but also it seems like there is sort of a theme, right? Just with you is in trying to really build people up. Is there something maybe in your life that kind of sparked that for you?
Oh gosh, this is going to be a mouthful. So, so, um, I have a very interesting life. When I tell my backstory,
Mhm.
a lot of people are very amazed by backstory. I actually, yes, I have 4 degrees, and I feel like my education is great, but I didn't start until late in life.
Mhm.
So yes, went directly from high school to college,
Mhm.
but I was actually expelled from college.
Oh wow, yeah.
And I ended up dropping out. I went to multiple universities and dropped out of 5 different universities.
Mhm.
I didn't try to go back to school until I was in my early 30s.
Mhm.
So all of these degrees were acquired within the last 15 years. Um, my background is very different. I actually wrote a memoir, a book, and published it based on the things that happened within my life.
Wow, yeah.
Came from a two-parent household. Parents were married like 60 years and all of that
Wow.
stuff, but I was just kind of defiant teenager
Mhm.
and young adult.
Mhm.
So I went down a route that was very toxic,
Mhm.
that included alcohol,
Mhm.
drugs, a bunch of different things.
Yeah.
And there was one day, me at 30 years old, and I just looked in the mirror and I said, I need to change something. I don't want to be the same person. I want to be a completely different person.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's when I created my model, my self-help model.
Mhm.
I started to develop it and I started to test it out on myself. And I was able to completely change the person that I was. I was able to accomplish at least 34 goals within 4 years.
Wow. Wow.
Um, and completely change myself. I mean, down to the small stuff like teach yourself how to cook,
Yeah.
like things like that.
Yeah.
So I almost have like a survivor story,
Mm.
because I pulled myself out of a negative, toxic place
Mhm.
and I created the person that I wanted to be.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. I mean, really, that just kind of hearing your story and, I mean, like when people talk about locking in, there probably needs to be a different word because that's 34 goals in 4 years. Wow. That's
Yep.
really that's really impressive.
Thank
So
you.
I have a theme. I have a theme that I kind of live by, and it's you never lose when you bet on yourself, right? So I think that one kind of applies, but I like one that you said. It's and this is one that you told me when we first kind of had a conversation. You said your theme is the only ceiling you have is the one that you create, and I think that that is also a great one. Can you tell me a little bit more about sort of why is that your mantra, and what ways do you project that and live by that?
So that's my mantra because I've struggled with the negative self-talk for
Mhm,
like years. So I didn't think that I could do certain things. And I challenged myself to be able to do them.
mhm,
And then I did it,
mhm,
So I said, oh, I want to make a certain amount of money within the next few years. I
mhm,
want to buy a house. I want to do all these different things. So I set these goals and I was able to achieve them
mhm.
when, if you rewind to like maybe when I was 21 years old, I would have never thought that I
Yeah,
would have achieved the things that I have achieved.
yeah,
So it taught me that the only ceiling you have is the one that you create.
yeah,
So sometimes your worst critic is yourself.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you can talk yourself out of so many different things. Um, and you may not even grow simply because you have that negative self-talk. And so I just wanted to just, I tell myself now the only thing that if I can't do something, it's because I believe that I can't do it. If I
Right.
can do it, it's because I believe I can do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so you're a certified professional coach, right? Um,
Yes, I
and
am.
and this is something I know that you kind of bring in to how you deal with people as well. So what is the most common sort of invisible ceiling, right? When we talk about ceilings, what is sort of the most common invisible ceiling that you see for professionals at every level, but even high achieving professionals for kind of how they
Mhm.
try to build themselves?
So it's really hard for me to pick one invisible ceiling.
Hmm.
I actually know about three
Hmm.
that I see over and over again.
Hmm.
I've seen it in myself, I've seen it in other people. The first one's perfectionism.
Hmm.
Second is waiting for permission. And then the last one is playing small.
Hmm. Yeah.
So I feel like a lot of these are rooted in insecurity and lack of self confidence. People want to be perfect before they move, or they're waiting for someone to validate them before they step forward. And honestly, this is something that I'm still working through. Like I have imposter syndrome.
Mm,
So there's like moments where I question whether I'm good enough,
mhm,
worthy enough, smart enough to be in certain spaces.
mhm.
And I question whether I'm enough so much. I actually tattooed the words on myself so that I can remind myself
That's smart. I
every
like
day
it.
that I'm enough.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
the best way I can describe it is like, so I always like to use like analogies and things like that. So
Yeah.
the best way I can describe it is like standing on the edge of a lid
Mhm.
and you're convincing yourself that there's like 101 reasons why you can't jump.
Yeah.
And you're imagining the worst possible scenario.
Mhm.
But when you look down, the ledge is only the height of a single step.
Yeah. Wow.
And in that moment, you realize the biggest thing holding you back isn't the fall, it's the
Mhm.
fear
Yes.
that's preventing you from like moving forward, from exploring possibilities and actually living in your full potential.
Wow. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. That's amazing. And so, when do you ever find it hard? I know that, right? It's because like, and I'm speaking for myself here, right? I definitely deal with the imposter syndrome part. Like, do these people actually know that I'm not really much of anything? They keep they, I don't know how I have this job here, or, how I'm kind of doing this. And, do you find it difficult sometimes, even with people who you see are doing really well? Do you find it difficult to kind of to maneuver through some of those blockades that people put up?
I do. I
Yeah.
mean, I have to remind myself every day.
Hmm.
I actually have affirmations that are like when I'm at my full-time job, I have affirmations all over my cubicle. I have motivational messages and things like that because it's not something that you just get over. You're going to always encounter someone that maybe even they might not think that you're good enough,
Yeah.
and they might make you question whether whether you
Yeah.
even deserve to be where you are.
Yeah.
So you have to constantly remind yourself it's not something that ever goes away.
Mhm.
It's almost like if you were an alcoholic and you're trying to stop drinking,
Mhm.
you have to take it day by day,
Yeah.
because or moment by moment or
Yeah.
hour by hour,
Right.
because those thoughts can creep up at any given moment. So yes, I have to constantly remind myself of this.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Yeah. So, so that's one of the things that you kind of special in is being a certified professional coach. But you also specialize in personal branding and personal and professional development training. In the era of AI, um, which everybody's talking about these days, and it sort of also feels a little cliche to even be talking about it, but I do have to ask, in the era of AI, do you know of anything that that you're seeing out there where it's like, that machine, that thing can't really replicate what it is that I do?
Let me just start by saying I love AI. I mean, I use it for a lot of things. It's very resourceful when it comes to helping me with, like, being a professor and just
Yeah,
all of these different things, or just finding out about quick ideas. But what I can say is that AI it can't tell a story the way that you can.
right,
It's
right.
it's only as smart as the prompts that you give it. It
Yeah,
doesn't have feelings, it doesn't have emotion or lived experience, and it can't express authenticity the way that a person can.
right.
At best, it really like scratches the surface of your narrative.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, and if you're willing to write a prompt long enough to tell your entire story, you might as well write it
You just do
yourself.
it yourself. Yeah, I hear you. True, true.
Um, but yeah, it's just so the way that I see it is I look at it like this way. So the DNA is very different when it comes to a real person and when it comes to AI. So
Mhm.
AI has like what I call like an algorithm DNA.
Mhm.
It's built on like patterns and predictions and probability.
Right.
But humans have experience DNA. It's
Mhm.
built on failures and risks, lessons and personality and perspective.
Mhm.
So if you want to tell like your story, or be really authentic, it's better to use like experienced DNA, because it carries more depth than the algorithms do. It's not something that you can replicate.
Absolutely. Context is everything, right? Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. And so you also do you're also specialized in instructional design. How does that background sort of help you architect better growth plans for the people that you're coaching or clients that you're trying to build up? Do you find that you have methods that are different than traditional methods, or are there things that you throw in again just kind of based off experience as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So it has changed the way that I coach people, because it taught me not to just give advice.
Mm,
It taught me how to like design a learning journey. So anyone can tell you what you should do, but real growth requires some type of structure.
right.
My background in adult learning helps me to diagnose the real issues that somebody's facing and break them into clear steps and
Mhm.
actually show them what their growth looks like over time.
Mm,
Um, so I always joke that the way that I approach personal and professional development is the same way like an architect approaches building a
yeah.
house. You can't just hand somebody a hammer and say, good luck.
Right.
You start with a blueprint.
Yeah.
And that blueprint mindset allows you to design internal pathways of growth.
Mm,
So you're not just offering random advice, you're actually helping them figure out something that's sustainable over time.
yeah. Wow. Wow. And so, yeah, I think that's great because you use the analogy of just handing somebody a hammer to build a house, right? It's funny because a lot of times people sort of already have tools, right? They just don't know what to do with them. And so,
Mhm.
uh, uh, how do you kind of take the time to learn a person, right? And this kind of speaks probably to you being Dr. Tara, right? But how do you take the time to kind of learn somebody in a way that you're able to really bring that out of them? I think that's a skill. I mean, definitely a skill within itself.
So I am a big advocate for like personality assessments.
Hmm.
And not just any personality assessment. The Myers-Briggs, the DISC, there's the Enneagram, there's so many different types that are out there right now.
Right.
But I've learned that anytime I've taken a personality assessment, it really does uncover the strengths that I have, the things that I need to develop. So one of the most annoying things that I do probably to my clients is so that I can understand them better. I can sit and listen to them all day, but I may have them take a few personality assessments and they're like, oh my gosh, like, you know, I don't really want to take all these assessments. It takes me 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
But once they take them and I see the results, I'm able to be able to see a clearer picture of
Right.
who that person is, in addition to what they tell me.
Yeah.
So they'll tell me certain things, and then I say, okay, now that you've told me this, now let me look at what the data says. And the data says these things about you.
Right.
So that's pretty much.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So you've done now today, as of today, you've done the podcast with us. You're actually also involved in doing an event with NAMIC. Can you tell me a little bit about how you found out about NAMIC, and also, since you are participating with this, it seems like the mission sort of aligns with things about yourself. Can you tell me a little bit about your involvement, and then sort of how that alignment aligns with you as well?
Oh yeah. So this is a really good story. So Cynthia
Yeah.
is an attendee of Speak On It.
Oh wow, yeah.
So she's attended several Speak On It events
Hmm.
over the course of the 10 years that I had Speak On It. And we reconnected on LinkedIn, and she actually was able to see, I was kind of advertising the business, the different things that I'm doing now, and the different direction that I moved in. And we had a phone conversation, and we caught up on, what I did when I hosted Speak On It, what I'm doing now, and she was able to find that commonality with your organization and what I'm doing. So that's how I became acquainted with your organization.
Nice, nice. Well, I can tell you, we all really appreciate it. And just from this conversation we're having right now, right? Having people like you involved with NAMIC, and being able to, bring your expertise to help my listeners here for the podcast, and then even for the event. It's invaluable, and so it is really appreciated. There's always a question I do like to kind of to leave out with, and it's just something that it's just sort of about you, right? Are there things that like, as when it comes to your professional, we've talked about all that, but are there things that you kind of like to do outside of work that kind of make you you as well? Podcasts, books that you like to read, things like that?
Okay, so I am a big karaoke person.
Nice.
So
Okay.
I love singing. And the
Yeah.
funny thing is that before, I used to have really bad stage fright.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because now I'm a speaker. But before I even had panic attacks when I would be in front of people.
Wow.
And I would never do karaoke. But my husband and I are like this duo, and he does the karaoke, I do the karaoke, and literally I do it like twice a week.
Nice. Nice.
So it's something that has become our thing. So
Mhm.
we come up with different songs that we want to sing, depending on how we feel. Sometimes we sing to each other, sometimes we do it separately, but it's become, I don't know, it makes me happy. It's
Yeah.
just that one thing that makes me smile.
Yeah.
After I've had a hard day and worked my two jobs,
Yeah.
going to sing some songs
Yeah.
it just brightens my week.
It is a nice way to unwind. I actually like karaoke myself. Now, the people around me probably don't like that I like karaoke because my singing voice is not where it needs to be, but I love to do it. It's fun. It's fun. So I can definitely relate with you there. It's a nice way to unwind.
Mhm.
All right. So as we kind of close, do you have any projects, websites, anything upcoming, even your book that you want to tell us about, places that we can go and learn more about you, or even we can kind of patronize your business as well.
So our business is Strick Consulting Group, LLC.
Hmm.
I am on LinkedIn. I also have a business page on LinkedIn,
Hmm.
and our website is just strickconsulting.net.
Okay.
So there's not www, it's just strickconsulting.net.
Gotcha.
But at this time, I am doing professional coaching for like personal professional development for people. So if anyone wants to reach out to me, they can definitely reach out to you, and we can definitely connect. They can go to the website. I do offer free consultations. I assist with self-help. If you want to do like some short-term or long-term goal setting, I can assist with that. If you have an organization that you want me to speak about some type of personal or professional development soft skill,
Mm.
I have an entire catalog that I host different classes and things like that. And you walk away with tools that you can use that can help you in the future. So if anyone's would like to get individual help or group assistance, yeah, they can definitely reach out to me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you so much. And one last thing before you go, is there any last thing that you might want these listeners to hear, to take away from this podcast, or maybe even a call to action?
Do not think that you stop growing,
Mhm.
that you've grown enough.
Mhm.
Every single day, you can learn something different and continue to grow.
Yeah.
And it's very important to recognize that every single person has blind spots that they can always work on and they can always improve. The thing is, you have to be able to seek out what those blind spots are and be open and willing to grow. So that's the biggest thing for me, just knowing that nobody's perfect, nobody knows everything, nobody has everything figured out. You can continue to grow on a daily basis.
Wow, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Tara. This has been an honor and a pleasure to speak with you today. And maybe hopefully sometime in the future we could try to do this again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I would love to.
Absolutely.
Thank you, listeners, for tuning in to today's episode. We hope you found it encouraging and insightful. With over 15 chapters nationwide, NAMIC is passionate about diversity, equity, and inclusion in the communications industry, with a wider range of professional development opportunities, networking events, and leadership programs. NAMIC is dedicated to empowering multi-ethnic diversity in the media and communications industry. Members gain access to valuable resources, industry insight, and an incredible community of like-minded professionals. For more information, go to NAMIC.com or to the NAMIC St. Louis chapter at NAMICSt.Louis.com or LinkedIn at LinkedIn.com/NAMIC St. Louis. Thank you and have a wonderful month. See you next time.